What's up guys, Spin Firearms here, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about the newer Springfield Armory Hellcat Pro comp, right? We're going to be talking about if it's worth getting, if you have some of these other options you see on the table, what makes it so different than all these other options on the table, and what else is competing with it in its class that I think is truly worth the money for picking up. Now, a big thing over here on this channel is I can only speak from experience, and a lot of people get that twisted, and I completely understand it, right? I see a video of someone calling the Glock 26 obsolete. I don't know why. It sort of hurts me. I love the Glock 26, so it sort of affects me. But what you got to remember, the only thing I can talk about from is my experience. If my Glock 26 jams, I will tell you it's jamming. That has issues, I will tell you it has issues. Everything is from my experience and my point of view. Therefore, if you have one of the handguns on the table, I'm not crapping on it. I literally love every handgun on this table, and would be perfectly fine with any of my friends, family members, wives, picking up any of these and using them as their main concealed carry option, right? Because there's so many amazing options. I am simply just speaking about how great this handgun truly is. And it takes a lot for me to say something like that because I'm pretty stuck in my ways. Glock 26, Shield Plus, Hellcat, Glock 27, stuff like that. But the Hellcat Pro Comp, being a little bit bigger than what I'd prefer, has definitely won its respect for me. But before we get started, hit the like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe. One thing I do want to point out to people is if you do have a Hellcat and a Hellcat Pro, or vice versa, if your Hellcat is printing a little too much because of that short barrel, you can get a wedge for it. Oops, sorry, wrong holster. You can get a wedge. You notice how I have the wedge on there? But if you have that longer Hellcat Pro with that 3.7-inch barrel, you don't necessarily need a wedge. I've gotten a lot of comments saying, why is my Hellcat printing? It is so small. And that's because short-barreled firearms, they keel over. There's nothing pressing it against your body. That's where the wedge comes in. The wedge makes up that space and keeps it from printing. Awesome product to have. Blacksmith Tactical, code SPN for 10% off. And these are V2 holsters from Blacksmith Tactical. If you get a V2 holster, get double discreet carry clips and a claw, you'll never need another holster the rest of your life. Now, obviously, the Springfield Armory Hellcat is my favorite Micro 9. It still is. And yes, this optic has been, trashed by the public in all my videos, and I get it. This setup right here is the Hellcat that was made for the journey of the Hellcat. We're going to be testing this dot as well as this Hellcat, and so far this thing has been running, and same with the dot. Now, obviously, it came back from SIG. It's its second go-around. They just sent me a brand new one instead of dealing with it, and we're going to continue to test it. But what's nice about the Hellcat is it is small, reliable, but the problem is, with being so small and stuff like that, this tends to be one of the snappier of all the Micro 9s. So a lot of people get it. They like the size, they like the feel, but they don't shoot it very well. And I understand that. And there's a lot of people that I know that hate it. They can't stand the Hellcat, and I say that's an extremely fair assessment because it's not for everybody. Just like the Glock 26 is not for everybody. A full size is not for everybody, right? Therefore, that's where the Hellcat Pro came in. Hellcat Pro, still an amazing, solid option. Now, what's nice is some people pointed out, so shout out to my subscribers, they're great. You guys are always awesome. They do sell the barrel and comp setup for the original Hellcat. I believe he said it was on Grab-A-Gun. It's only like $160. I didn't realize it would be so cheap because when you look at a Glock threaded barrel and compensator and stuff, you're spending $200, $300, $400 for a solid one. The Springfield Armory RDP one, I believe, is only like $160 for the barrel and comp combo. So if you have a Hellcat, you can upgrade to a longer barrel with that comp to really help with that recoil. So for only $160 upgrade, I would say go that route. If you have the actual Hellcat Pro, I don't think you necessarily need to upgrade. The Hellcat Pro shoots just fine. I don't find these handguns to be super snappy. Now, they are snappy, but everything is relative. I shoot a lot of small, snappy stuff, bigger caliber, stuff like that. So when I pick up something like a Hellcat Pro, this shoots like a Glock 19 to me. So if you already have a Hellcat Pro, I don't think there's a necessity to upgrade to the Hellcat Pro Comp, unless maybe later down the line you can find a slide on eBay or the barrel on eBay, or call Springfield, see if there's an aftermarket upper you can get for it, that whole sort of thing. There are other routes to go, but to be honest, once again, one of the most solid handguns right out of the box, ready to go, even without that comp. Very shootable, and plus you're still getting full velocity, no gas blowback, nothing like that. So it's really nice. Now, even though I do say this is the best concealed carry handgun, the most complete offered right now, we have to take the Glock 26 out of that conversation because it doesn't have a rail, and most of them don't come optics ready. you know, simple things that should be done, texturing, I mean, the small things that Glock should be doing, you know, sort of disqualifies them from the conversation. I'm different. I just love the Glock 26. It's what I shoot the best, right? A lot of people wanted me to let them know what the difference is between the Reflex. Obviously, the Reflex shoots better than the original Hellcat. 100% hands down. The problem with the Reflex is a lot of people have been getting issues with theirs. I personally know someone who went through 3 and finally gave up. They loved it so much, but theirs just couldn't shoot right, or it jammed, or had issues. They went through 3 and finally said, I give up on the Reflex. I think they're maybe going to try the Reflex again now that maybe some of the issues have been worked out. I don't know if they've been worked out, but that's what I've heard. Mine have had no problems. Mine has been solid as can be. The finish on the FDE is a little weak, maybe is the word. I don't know. Maybe a little weak, but this thing's been flawless. Absolutely love the effing Reflex. So if you have a Reflex, in my opinion, there is no need to get the Hellcat Pro Comp. No need. This is just as good, just as effective. Stuff like the Ruger. A lot of people don't like this because it's a budget option. If you have the Ruger, I don't necessarily see a need to jump on a Hellcat immediately. But in my opinion, the Hellcat Pro is a much better handgun. You get what you pay for. And just overall length of time with that handgun, it'll show, in my opinion. Right, the Max 9 is a great Micro 9, a great budget option. It actually shoots pretty well, and it actually feels pretty decent in the hand. And honestly, it's interesting. My wife really likes it. They like this handgun. But in my opinion, your Hellcat, you are going to get a lot more out of just simply based off how they're made. Open up your Hellcats. Look inside of the Hellcats. Look at the design. It is a beautiful design. It is reinforced. It is strong. Whereas the Max 9 still leaves something a little to be desired for me. Once again, not crapping on this handgun. I actually like it. I actually got holsters to carry it. All sorts of stuff. I actually carried it for a week in Florida. I sort of had to. But it hasn't let me down. I have no reason to talk down on it. Another one I get a lot of crap for is because of wars and stuff right now. Which, take that out of the picture. We don't want wars. We want everyone at peace, right? The Masada 9 Slim. Maybe you have the Masada 9 Slim. Should you upgrade? In my opinion, not really. It's basically a Hellcat Pro with a better trigger. That's simply all it is, and 2 less rounds. But 13+1 out of the Masada is just fine. It's going to be just good. Has a great trigger on it, which is something that the Hellcat does not. I'm going to be honest with you guys. The Hellcat trigger is what loses a lot of people. It's not even Glockish. Like, a lot of people crap on Glock, even though Glock triggers are fine. It's worse than Glockish, I guess. It's a little heavier on that break. It's crisp, it's clean. A little bit of over travel, but you can fix it up using an Apex. It's not terrible. But when you look at something like the Masada Slim, you're paying less money and getting a better trigger. But once again, no rail. I mean, this is one of the crispest, cleanest triggers for self-defense. Should you upgrade? I'm not saying you should just run out and upgrade. A lot of people take the videos that I do wrong, right? Once again, Mossberg, MC2SC. Absolutely love my Mossberg. Love it. I've given it so many chances. I don't carry it after all those chances, but I still like to shoot this stuff for review and test it and get back to you guys for long-term performance. The Mossberg's actually built really well. It's just one of those handguns, again, I have not had good luck with. So in this case, I would definitely upgrade. Does it feel good in my hand? Yes. Is it a shooter? 100%. But mine have given me issues. So simply based off that analysis, I would get a Hellcat Pro or a Hellcat. These are just some of the most solid handguns that are made. The finish, the texturing, the triggers are the one downside. The snappiness you can learn, you know, everything. Memory pads, rails, the smallest handguns with capacity. This mag will go in this firearm. This upper will go on this firearm. I mean, super cool. Let's touch on the Shield Plus. If you have a Shield Plus, no need to get a Hellcat Pro or a Hellcat Pro Comp, in my opinion. I think the Shield Plus is right up there with every other Micro 9 that people would consider the best. And someone even mentioned that 4-inch Performance Center from Smith & Wesson. You know that thing's going to be right up there with the Performance Center. Or, I mean, with the Hellcat Pro Comp. If you get the Shield Plus Performance Center, whether it's the 3.1-inch or the 4-inch, that thing's going to be shooting right up there with the Hellcat Pro. I don't own one, so I can't really speak on it, but I already know how the Shield Plus shoots. You know, and another thing I want to mention is a lot of people talk about me having a lot of handguns. Yes, it's a little dramatic, but I also run a review channel, and I keep them around so I can test stuff. I'm also a collector, but that's like a separate side of my firearms thing. But on top of that, I think everyone needs 2 concealed carry handguns. If you have one that becomes a lemon, starts having issues, malfunctions, you're waiting on a part for it, You need something else you can throw into the rotation. I'm not saying you need 4, 5, 6 handguns like my rotation is. Have a couple, one or two extra handguns that'll be there for backup just in case. That's just my opinion. But the Shield Plus, it doesn't get much better than the Shield Plus. The SIG P365 XL, should you get the Hellcat Pro Comp? In my opinion, yes. I'm not the biggest fan of these SIGs. I've heard a lot of stories. I've had a lot of issues with mine. I've had 2 catastrophic failures with my P365s, not this particular model. But Army Craft Grip Module, code SPN, if you want to get 5% off. They're actually really nice. Awesome texturing and stippling on them. They feel really good. Now, should you upgrade to Hellcat Pro Comp? In my opinion, yes, because of reliability. But the P365s are straight up shooters. And there is one, in my opinion, that could potentially be better than the Hellcat Pro Comp with the Apex. And that's going to be the AXG Legion. I had the honor to shoot this back-to-back with my buddy Dan's AXG Legion. And man, flip a coin. They're just both great handguns. The AXG Legion macro is unfreaking believable. Unreal. It's a piece of art. The grip module, the way it feels in the hand, its natural point of aim, that trigger, those sights, the frame being metal, everything on that handgun is legit flawless. In that case, you might want to go from the Hellcat Pro to the AXG Legion, but it's a very costly upgrade. Canik Meta MC9. Tack driver. Beast of a handgun. But for me, once again, it comes down to long-term performance, how a handgun's built, and reliability. This has given me issues. Hellcats never have given me issues. Now, here's the thing about issues. I have people that come to me and say, hey, I got a Glock 26. Terrible issues. I had to send it back to Glock. Glock sent it back to me. Still terrible issues. It's going back to Glock. That's firearms, guys. Every company has lemons. That does not speak about the company. I've shot a lot of Canics that run flawlessly. My buddy's got the Rival. I've shot my buddy's Canik Meta MC9 actually last week, and it's a tack driver. We actually shot one. I put a dot on his. Same exact dot as this. Smooth as can be. Love the Canik Meta MC9. But yes, I would upgrade. There's nothing wrong with having a backup or a second. I'm not saying sell these firearms. I'm saying, upgrade and get the other one. Have them both. See how you like them. Rent one at the range. The Hellcat Pro Comp, though, in my opinion, is one of the most complete handguns out there. Just rent one. You will get what I'm saying. You wouldn't think that would make the biggest difference, but to be honest, with the way the Hellcat is, the Hellcat Pro isn't super snappy, but when you throw on that comp, it's flatter than a Glock 19. I mean, it's one of the flattest shooting handguns, and it's still so light, smooth, capacity, literally the all-around handgun. Hope you guys get what I mean. I'm not saying drop everything. I'm just saying this is an amazing option out there that people should try and give a chance to. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.